Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to journey deep into the past to uncover the secrets of the incredible stone cities and towering pyramids of the ancient Americas. We'll explore the monumental worlds built by some of history's most fascinating cultures. So it all starts with one huge question. Who actually built these awe-inspiring structures? We see the ruins, but it's easy to forget about the architects, the engineers, and the millions of people who lived in and around these lost worlds. That's the mystery we're going to unpack together. All right, so here's our plan. We'll start with the ancient mystery itself. Then we'll set the scene in the world of Mesoamerica. After that, we're going to shine a spotlight on three incredible civilizations: the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the monumental legacy they left behind. Okay, so to really understand these monuments, we first need to get a handle on the world they came from. And for two of the cultures we're looking at, that world was the vibrant, complex region we call Mesoamerica. So what is Mesoamerica anyway? Well, it wasn't this single country, but this vast cultural region, a true cradle of civilization. For centuries, dozens of distinct cultures grew and interacted here, especially during what historians call the Classic period, from around 200 to 900 CE. That's when so many of its greatest cities really thrived. And here's the cool part. Despite all their diversity, these peoples were connected by a kind of shared cultural DNA. Maize, or corn, was the absolute foundation of their diet. They all developed these incredibly complex calendars to track cosmic cycles, and many of them took part in sacred ritual ball games, a sport where the stakes were literally life and death. And this gets us to the whole purpose of their monumental architecture. It really wasn't just for show. These massive pyramids and temples, commissioned by powerful rulers, were expressions of their deepest beliefs about the universe. They were like physical bridges connecting the everyday world of people with the sacred realm of the gods. So let's see this in action. We'll start with our first spotlight, the Maya. As one of the foundational civilizations with incredibly deep roots, they weren't just architects of stone. They were truly architects of time itself. Let's just take a quick look here. The Maya civilization wasn't one single empire, but a whole network of powerful city-states like Tikal and Chichen Itza spread across a huge territory. But what's really staggering is the timescale. They emerged around 1500 BCE, and their culture thrived for 3 millennia. I mean, just to put that into perspective, the entire Roman Empire lasted for less than half that time. It's just amazing. Okay, now let's jump forward thousands of years, where a very different kind of power emerged in Mesoamerica. Our second spotlight is on the Aztec, who are also known as the Mexica. Now, they were relative newcomers to the scene, but wow, did they build one of the most powerful empires in the region with astonishing speed. So the Aztec controlled this vast tribute empire from their base high up in the Valley of Mexico, and at its heart was their magnificent capital, Tenochtitlan. And just look at their timeline. They went from being pretty much unknown to building this massive empire in just over a century, a truly meteoric rise to power right before the Spanish conquest. And this quote right here, it gets at what made their capital so unique. Tenochtitlan wasn't built on solid ground. Nope, it was an island city right in the middle of Lake Texcoco. Through these incredible feats of engineering, they created canals for streets and floating gardens for farming. It was truly a wonder of the world. For a final spotlight, we're traveling south, leaving Mesoamerica far behind and heading for the soaring peaks of the Andes Mountains. Because it was here that another great civilization created a massive and totally unique empire, the Inca. The Inca Empire was really a dominion of the mountains. From their capital at Cusco, they ruled a territory stretching for thousands of miles right along the spine of South America, and they connected it all with this ingenious road system. And you'll notice, like the Aztec, they were a later civilization, really rising to prominence after 1200 CE. Okay, this timeline really puts everything into perspective. Just look at that immense time gap. The Maya civilization was already ancient. We're talking over 2,500 years of history behind them, before the Inca or the Aztec even began building their empires. They weren't contemporaries at all. They represent entirely different ages of the Americas. So what is the monumental legacy that connects these incredible cultures across all that time and space? Let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture. We've explored 3 distinct, highly complex civilizations: the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca, separated by geography and, in some cases, thousands of years. Yet they all shared this capacity for monumental vision and incredible human achievement. And this brings us right back to that central idea. From the pyramids of Tikal to the temples of Tenochtitlan and the mountain fortresses of the Inca, these structures were just so much more than stone. They were statements of power, they were maps of the cosmos, and they were vital links between the human and the divine. So, we're left with this. We've answered who built these monuments, but the bigger question might be what they can still tell us. What can these ancient stones and the complex worlds they represent teach us today about society, belief, and maybe even our own human potential?